by the great occultist Bill Clinton.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. All right. Any more questions, Cole, before we close?
No, I think every question I had has been satisfied. I'm good.
Yeah, this is very informative. Eric, do you want to share before we close?
Sure. You can check my website at www.vaticanassassins.org. I have my CD for sale, which is 40 Federal Reserve notes plus 5 for shipping, and 325 Federal Reserve notes for the book plus shipping. Then I have my Con CD that I added over 100 pictures to. That's available for 20 plus shipping. And then I have my newsletter that is the first real issue is coming out this August, and it's going to be 6 times a year. It's bi-monthly, and that's for $40 a year. So between the book and the Con display, that will give you your backup, and then the newsletter will continue to build on what they're doing now to keep you apprised of what they're up to. And I have some really great guest writers for me, too.
Eric, can you explain your slideshow presentation before we close?
Sure. I begin with asking, I show that, first of all, these important men have said that there's a conspiracy so massive it boggles your mind. Hoover said it and a few others. I then go into who is the Pope. I then go into showing that the Pope, understanding the papacy, you have to go back to Mystery Babylon religion. So in explaining Mystery Babylon religion, I show that it has a beginning with Nimrod in Babylon. It then, the myth of the Nimrod dying and coming back to life through Semiramis as Tammuz. That myth carries over into Egypt. Of Osiris dying. He comes back to life through Isis in the person of Horus. And this is the satanic myth originating in Babylon that is now centered in Rome, where there's a pope who is holding the place of Horus, but he's not Horus yet. He's not the risen pope yet. So I get into the Mystery Babylon religion, I get into Christmas, I get into the globe, I get into the triangle, I get into the all-seeing eye. I show you the use of the pyramid, the great pyramids in Egypt. One is Osiris, one is Isis, one is Horus. The small period is Horus. Off Isis, the middle period, the middle pyramid, which has a name I can't think of right now, you have the Sphinx. So out of the female comes the God-man, comes the man-beast. And so the Egyptians were looking for that as personified in Pharaoh. The papacy is looking for that personified in the Pope. So I get into that Mystery Babylon religion, and then once you understand that, then I go into the building of the papacy, how Constantine created Roman Catholicism in 725 with the Council of Nicaea, that he has nothing to do with biblical Christianity, that he created Romanism. And then I go from there to show the first man that was called the Pope, and then the Pope that got spiritual power was given spiritual power by Phocas, and then the Pope that was given temporal power by Pepin, and then how Charlemagne was used by the Pope to implement the beginning of his Holy Roman Empire. And I bring that on through, and I just kind of jump ahead sometimes and show you how the papacy is ruling America as its modern-day Holy Roman Empire, and show the Pope there in Washington before the obelisk. I show the White House with the West Wing designed for the purpose of the Jesuits. I show that the Oval Office is the vaginal Oval Office of the Virgin Mary, so that they can all meet there and with the blessing of the Virgin Mary, and the Jesuits of Georgetown implement their domestic and foreign policies. So I carry that through somewhat. Then I go to the history of the Inquisition and show the Jesuits carried that out for 600 years. And then I show the modern day's Inquisition of fascism and communism, especially in Russia, where the Jesuits controlled the Lubyanka and did all their torturing there, with Father Braun and Father Walter Cizik, who was an American Jesuit there in Russia for many years, carrying out the Inquisition in the Gulag. Then I go from the Inquisition, then I go to the breaking of the Pope's power beginning to lose. I also show the papacy creating Islam, its usage for Islam. I have maps that are very intriguing. And then I show how the papacy used Islam to overthrow the Byzantine Empire. And then you have the starting of the Orthodox Church in 1054, and thus Rome declares war against that, carries out a crusade against it. So I show the papacy, Islam, all that working together, the Orthodox Church, bringing it into the Protestant Reformation. Then I deal with several slides on Luther, what he believed about the Bible, what he believed about the papacy. I show you what he believed about the Jews, as I mentioned previously, their future restoration, how he did not write on the Jews and their lies. And then I go from the Reformation to the Counter-Reformation, to the Jesuit order. And then that's where that gets interesting. I give several slides on that on Ignatius. And then I show how the Jesuits founded Bohemian Grove. I show the priests worshiping in Bohemian Grove in 1927, because Bohemian Grove is only 70 miles north of the Jesuit San Francisco University. And then the Bohemia, that's been one of the Jesuits' favorite terms, how John Nepomuk, who is the priest of Bohemian Grove, he's loved by the Jesuits because he was killed, because he wouldn't divulge the secrets of the confessional. So I kind of tie all these things in with a Counter-Reformation, and then I bring it up to present day, the creation of the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem for the papacy, the post-Masonic Jewish Zionists, the control of the Saudi Arabians, the control of other Islamic leaders after World War I, when the Jesuits in control of Britain divided up the Ottoman Empire for their benefit. And any true Muslim leader like King Faisal, who would resist the power of the Jesuit order, would be murdered. I show the Jesuits were expelled from Iraq in 1969, which then they brought Saddam Hussein to power to mass murder the Shiites there and continue the mass murder. So there are several different topics, and then as I bring it into the close, I show how the Jesuits were behind 9/11, how Bush gives Tenet the American Medal of Freedom. I have the picture where he's putting it on George J. Tenet. I show Cardinal Egan and George Bush. And I show St. Patrick's Cathedral, the palace of the Archbishop where he rules the empire from. And then I ended up with the gospel and call them into salvation in Christ.
Excellent. And the slideshow, you said that to me on a side conversation that you're having people purchase that from you, be trained, and be able to present that in other areas?
Yes. When they purchase the slideshow, it's pretty well self-explanatory. And then they can give that presentation themselves to other people, so they can become an authority on that topic right there, because it's all laid out and it's easily accessible and provable.
And that's key for people to duplicate this information and allow other people to be informed.
Absolutely. See, then it's not expensive. It's only $20, but then you can give your presentation, and if others want to do the same thing, they can get it too. And so it'll just spread everywhere to see exactly how the Jesuits rule the West. They rule the Islamic world. They rule the Orthodox world. They run the Buddhist world. They're coordinating this crusade all together. So whatever happens, it's designed that way. And so it's not a riddle to us why Schwarzkopf doesn't get rid of Saddam Hussein, or something that simple, that a guy with a kindergarten education would do if he was a military leader. So as we see all these agents working together, we know who controls it, and we know what their end game is.
Exactly. Awesome.
Phenomenal.
Pleasure to be with you, gentlemen.
All right, Eric, God bless you. God bless everybody. Good night, and we'll see you again next Thursday.
Okay,
Mr. Phelps, I got to say it's been an honor. You're a patriot, a gentleman, and a scholar, and I can't wait for you to be on the show again. I hope you'll come on the show again.
Well, I'd be happy to, sure.
And I'd love to talk a little bit further about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, too.
Sure, that would be great. Sure, I'd love to.
All right, Eric. Assalamu alaikum. God bless you, man.
Okay, Lord bless you too, gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Good night.
One love.